Hello, everyone, and welcome to Awakening Adventures, where we will hear real stories from real people who have had a spiritual awakening and what they were guided to do with that awareness afterwards. My name is Venus Castleberg, and I use my gifts to help real estate agents clear the energy from stuck homes so that they can sell with greater ease. I'm really excited for my guest today, and her name is Christine von Ponder. And I remember meeting Christine, and there was just this instant, like, yes, I know you. You're a sister. We connected right out of the gate. We're super excited to get to know each other. One of the things I love about her is that she's a connector. And if you guys know what a connector is, it's just somebody who knows like who they need to connect you with. And she's extremely good at that. Like she will intuitively know that you need to meet this person or you need this, and or maybe you're seeking something in your life and you're thinking, I need this kind of person in my life. She probably knows that person. So just something to keep in your back pocket if you're curious about Christine. We'll have more information about her. She is also she supports transformational leaders and impact investors in thriving through conscious collaboration. So, without further ado, welcome, Christine.
Hi, thank you, Venus. Thank you for having me. This is great. I love working with you and talking with you. So this is perfect for me.
Yeah, that's me too. Um, so, tell us, Christine, was there a time in your life that you feel like you had maybe your first spiritual awakening or some sort of awakening where you were going down a specific direction or a specific path and you were just like, nope, not going that way anymore?
Yeah, I've had a number of them, but the most recent one I think is the most impactful to my yesterday, today, and tomorrow, I would like to say, because when it happened, it was it was very interesting. I was going through big transition in my life. I was going through, um, getting getting all these downloads of different things, and I was seeing myself. I would have different dreams. They would come to me in dreams, and one of the dreams was me being on stage in a very large theater, like an older style theater with the seats that the floor is up, ramped up for all of the seats, and it's a round. There was a mezzanine as well. It was full. So it was full of people, and the first thing I noticed was I'm on the stage and I'm speaking. I can't hear what I'm saying, but also things I noticed that weren't there, noticeably absent, was a timer. And with there being no timer, that said to me, I'm the only one they're there to see or hear, because I'm not on a timer because someone else has to come on after me. So that was the first thing, the realization of that part. And then the realization of there's no teleprompter. So nothing that I'm saying is scripted or rehearsed or anything. And again, all of these people are there just to see and hear me speak. And then I spent a great period of time trying to figure out, what is it that I'm talking to these people about? What is it that they're so interested and curious about? How, you know, I'm not a professional speaker. I don't do that. I've impromptu had to speak at different things, but it hasn't been anything where I've again scripted it. It's just come from my heart. And so I thought, okay, well, I need to let that go, because obviously I'm not meant to know that part yet of the what. I have the who and I have the where, and I have, but not the topic. I don't know what I'm talking about yet. So going through all of that and then being able to release the what the topic is and just pay attention each time I had the dream, it was different. So one time I was a person on the mezzanine looking down at me on stage, and I was in different areas. So that happened for a few times in a row where I was in different parts of the theater, looking at myself on stage and seeing myself. And with that, I noticed how completely comfortable I was being on stage, how completely at ease and and natural, everything was just naturally flowing and everything. It's like, okay, so I don't need to be nervous about this. I don't need to stress about this. So let go of that, right? It's like layers. It brought me this big giant cookie, and then and then of course I panicked, right? And then I start, because I'm a systems and processes person. It's like, okay, what about this? What about this? What about this? And I'm like, and those things started falling away after each dream, because it was like, you don't need to know that. Like, you don't need to know that right now. We'll tell you when it's time, right? And those kind of things. And so the other dreams started as well with, or dreams and or messages. So there's sometimes where you're just walking down the street and a bus will go by and it's got something written on the side and it jumps out at you. Say, oh, okay. Is that for me? Yes. Okay. What do I do with that now? Right? And so being not, I wouldn't say hyper aware, but I would say aware for sure. And paying attention to everything that's going on around me. It doesn't matter birds, it could be, it could be a big laminated sign outside somehow. It doesn't matter what it is. If something is making your attention go there, for me, I like to put my hand on my heart and say, is this for me?
Mm.
And then you can feel right away whether it is or isn't, right?
Right.
And when all of that was happening, I was just beginning to learn about human design. So as I was learning about human design, I was learning about human design for myself to try and understand a whole bunch of things that had happened in my life previously, and where all of this experience was getting me to go, what direction all of this experience was getting me to go. And so I got these other downloads of, which eventually ended up being cookies from the universe. Cookies from the universe is so many things, but the big thing is we're going through this huge transition now, as the people, as the planet is going through this huge, huge transition right now. And we're moving from a patriarchal society to a matriarchal society. And right now, today, as we're speaking, we're going through this very small knothole, and there's all of this volume of people and places and things and everything having to get through that little tiny knothole. And part of the cookies from the universe is that my logo, for example, for cookies from the universe, I know a lot of people have seen science fiction movies or things like that, or old stories where there's a looking glass, and people step through the looking glass and they end up in a different time or place. Well, the logo is a moving logo, and it's a looking glass with an outstretched hand open to take people's hand and help them as safely as possible get through to the other side of this. And part of my role in that is to provide a community, create a community, create an awareness that people aren't alone, and that there's things that you can do if you're just open to saying, okay, take my hand. And people feeling that safety, feeling that secureness of, right now there's 3 different types of people in the world, right? There's the power mongers and the he who dies with the most toys wins and all of that sort of thing going on. And on the other side, extreme side, is light workers and people like us that we have the empathy, we have the path forward, we don't know it all either, but we know the next couple of steps at least, right? And we can help people. And then there's the people in the middle, and they are aware that things are happening. They're not aware of exactly what they're supposed to do about it or how they're supposed to get through it. So they're kind of flapping around, and then something will happen and they get taken out at the knees. All of a sudden they lose their job, through no fault of their own. It's just things are just happening, right? Random things are happening that probably aren't so random, but know what's going to happen. And people are anxious, they're afraid, they don't know where to turn. And so the power monger side of the equation is creating false narratives and false hope because they're promising things they never ever intend to deliver on. And on the other side is us that are willing and open to help and use our gifts. And I'm not saying to use our gifts for free because we all need to eat. And if we have a gift and we're open to sharing it, we shouldn't be doing it for nothing. And so I want to make that really clear because there's so many light workers that have been doing what they do for so long and they've been struggling financially, to feed themselves even, but they're still not stopping helping as many people as they can because that's their dharma, that's what they're here for. And I send them so much love and understanding. And now things have to change so that everyone can benefit, right? So that and it's not a big win or anything. It's just paying your rent, paying for food, things like that. People need to understand that even if they feel they have nothing they can give, they probably do. I mean, we are probably going back to the times of, I'll trade you a chicken for, you
Yep.
know, or I have vegetables in my garden. I can trade you for, something. It may get that far. It may get that far back in time to do a giant reset. I'm not sure, but I'm prepared for all of that. And to be able to help people, and that's the big thing. So with the power mongers doing all the things that they're doing and giving people false information, false promises, and things like that, there's people that are going that way because they need any kind of light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes.
So they're taking what they see in front of them.
Right.
And then there's the other people that are going, I don't, something inside me is saying, don't trust that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but where can I go? Where can I look for help? Where can I look for support? And then that is where we all come in.
Mm-hmm.
And so right now I'm building a community, and it's not just light workers, it's in every enterprise, everything you can think of is in there. But people are coming together, and I'm finally feeling like this is what I'm here for.
Mm-hmm.
This is exactly why I'm here. And learning about my human design helped me get a lot of things off my plate that I was pushing the giant boulder up the hill every single day, exhausting myself, going through burnout cycles. I was in the corporate world. That was a long time ago now, but, burnout cycles there. And then there were a number of other burnout cycles after that because I can't be around those people. Because I see everything, I feel everything,
Mm-hmm.
and I know what they're up to, and I can't stay. Like I can't be around that. I'm far too sensitive to, and not sensitive in a, baby kitten kind of way. Just sensitive of, I see that you're doing things that are wrong, immoral, illegal, whatever, and I can't be part of that. I can't be tarred with that brush. I can't be whatever. And I have to get out. And, and lots of times it's cost me making a living. And for long periods of time, because usually I had to stick it out long enough that it triggered another whole burnout cycle,
Mm-hmm.
which every time you do it, it comes on faster and it stays longer and it's harder to get past. And I just am not interested in putting any of myself through that again. And learning my human design, finding out that I'm not here for that anyway. I'm here to bring together community when I first had the information download about when I was learning about my human design, what I likened it to, and this is not an ego thing, this is just how structure has worked in the history, is I'm a queen sitting on a throne, and people are coming in and asking me for things that they need. So I have someone coming to me that has a farm but no seed.
Mm.
And I have another person in the room that has seed but doesn't have a cow.
Mm.
And things like that. So I'm going, okay, you two get together and go and do that exchange because you've got what this one needs and you've got what this one needs, and things like that. So being that conduit to bringing everyone together. And now with the way we have the opportunity to do meetings on Zoom, putting those people together, curating a room, having a big meeting and having a learning session in that meeting, but also having breakout rooms in there and I curate those rooms as to who gets in a room with who.
Mhm.
So I'm doing it, instead of doing it as a queen on a throne, I'm doing it as a host of a meeting place where people can come together and get their needs met.
Mm. I love that.
So that was a huge transition from being in the corporate world.
Yeah, totally. So when you were a child, would you say that you noticed signs? You noticed things like
Hmm.
what would stand out for you as a child?
Oh, so many things. Feeling things when I would walk into a room, I could feel danger
Mm.
before anything was actually happening. And I could go, uh, there was many times in my early years when I could go into bars and things like that. It was so often that I would walk in and I could feel the room, but then I got so good at it, I could feel the who in the room. I could go, okay, that guy's going to start a fight, or that girl's getting jealous of that girl over there who's looking at her boyfriend, and like, say, okay, I'm just going to back away. You back away now,
Right.
and then other things were. When I was really young, there was a lot of spiritualness, I will say, around me, because there was all different types of different things, from religion to white witchcraft to, like, all of these things were all around me. So being open to understanding and learning, not judging,
Mhm.
very, very early on. Um, Not being afraid to ask questions
Mm.
and have an understanding, realizing things like, you know, any religion or any path that people decide to go on in that direction, with their soul, I guess would be a good way to say it. That's up to them,
Mhm.
but I'm going to learn what I can so that I can decide to take the best things out of there, because not everything is 100%. It doesn't matter what it is. It can be a religion, it can be any kind of education or training or anything. Take the gold nuggets out
Mhm.
and leave the rest behind, and
Mm.
just be grateful that you have an awareness of it, because there's so many things going on in the world and people don't have an awareness of all of it, because we would implode from all the information. It would just be way too much and way overpowering.
Yeah.
So being able to discern and filter out a lot of things, lots of filtering, to be able to do to be able to do all of that, and being able to not judge people when I see them, you
Mm.
know, by appearances or by anything else,
Right.
and to be able to see something early on. I learned how to spot danger was a big thing,
Mm.
and different. Yeah, there's been different times where I've stepped in, and I'm 4'9". I'm not a big person. And times when I've stepped in because I see something happening and I know I can do something about it. And I
Mm.
don't, and without getting myself hurt, without endangering myself.
Right.
And I've stepped in where a couple living in the apartment below me and their little child that was 2 years old, they were having a screaming, swearing, hollering match with each other. It was 11 o'clock at night. I was already in bed, but the yelling woke me up. I put my house coat on. I went downstairs. I knocked on the door. All three of them answered the door. So the husband, the wife, and the child. And the child was just, when they're so crying and so distraught and messed up, and, you know,
Mhm.
they, I looked at them and I said, smarten up. Whatever you guys have a problem with between yourselves, talk about it like grown adults and stop inflicting this on your little person you created. That's not fair, it's not right. Figure it out. If you need to get a babysitter and go somewhere else to have those discussions, do that. But this is not okay. Look at what you're doing. It's 11 o'clock at night. He's 2. It's not fair. It's not right. He has no choice. And they both,
Mm.
I said, I will come down here again if anything is happening. And that was that. And so they never did it again. Thankfully for the little guy, because that's what my primary concern was.
Mhm.
And another shopping mall. And there was this woman, and she was, the little kiosks they have in the middle of the mall,
Mhm.
the little shop vendors, right? There's a woman, and she was doing laps around the kiosk. And her boyfriend was sitting talking to the guy that was repairing her cell phone. But she was circling, and I could feel the energy. She was generating energy, like she was making a whirlpool of energy.
Mhm.
And she was inciting her boyfriend to attack the guy that was fixing her cell phone.
Mhm.
And her boyfriend was built like a linebacker. And he stood up. When she walked behind him, she said something. I couldn't see what she said, but she said something to him, and that snapped him. He picked the guy up off the chair, threw him down on the concrete floor, and started sat on his chest and started pounding him. I came out of a store. I said to the clerk in the store, call security now. And instead of doing that, they came and grabbed their cell phones and came to start watching. People are so sick these days. And so I went around. I didn't touch him, because when somebody is seeing red,
Mhm.
you don't touch them because
Right.
they don't know what they're doing anymore.
Right.
I came around in front. I crouched down on my haunches, and I looked at him until he made eye contact with me. And I said, what are you doing? He snapped out of it, and he was like, he's looking at the blood on his hands. He's looking at the blood on the man. He's looking at the man underneath him.
Mhm.
And he was like, oh my God, right? Like, what have I done? And finally, at that point, security came. And then I just walked away. And one of the girls, I'll say girls because she was probably 18, 19, that was filming it, she said, you had no right to step in there, that guy was taking care of his business and whatever. And I said, and you were filming it all, you did nothing to stop what was happening.
Mhm.
Grow up. And I right, but there's been so many times, those are the two biggest times that impacted me as well, and let me know that's not, I'm here to stop those kind of things in the world, but not by myself, by a
Mhm.
long shot,
Right.
right? Giving people information, giving people the empowerment and understanding of what's possible, and not get caught up in all the negativity and all the things going on. Yes, things are happening. I'm not saying to pretend like nothing is happening out there, but have the awareness, but have that disconnect of, but I'm going to live my life to the best way that I can and do the best that I can do
Mhm.
with what I have and how I'm going through. Giving people permission to do that.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of people feel like they don't have that permission to do that, or they're afraid to speak up or step up, for so many different reasons.
Right.
But now is not the time. Now is the time to be be aware, but also be proactive,
Mhm.
especially for yourself and your family and your friends.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, and it doesn't, like you said, it doesn't require hands-on, right? You don't have to, you just wait till somebody acknowledges you and
Mhm.
get their
Yeah.
attention, right? So,
Mhm.
um, well, thank you for sharing that. I really would like to just have you share a minute about like you have a company that you call I Have People for That.
Mhm.
Can you
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. I trademarked it as well, which was really, really difficult because amongst other, other people, they're saying, well, it has to be more specific. And I said, no, it can't be more specific because that's exactly what I do. And so, as you mentioned in the opening, Venus, when you were introducing me, I am a curator of relationships, not personal relationships. I'm not a dating person. I don't do any of that. That's way too much responsibility.
Right, totally.
Oh,
I don't
yeah,
do relationship stuff either.
no. And so, but as far as, people in their business life and their personal life, as far as, they're stuck somehow, somewhere with something, or they know they need to level up, but they're not sure how to do that, or they're not sure how to get unstuck for something. And a lot of times I can have a 30-minute conversation with somebody and get them, you know, at minimum, when people leave a conversation with me, they've had at least one aha moment because it's something that was right in front of them that they're so used to seeing it, they didn't see it.
Mm,
Things like that. And then finding out what it is that they need and connecting them with exactly the right person to help them with that.
mm,
And it's such a gift. And when I learned that that's why I'm here to be able to do that, I don't have to do it as a queen from a throne now in this time and age, but I can still do that. And then my next level was, how can I do this en masse? How can I do it for more people in a same period of time, but more and more people? And that was creating the community. So that's the next iteration. So having the meetings now, and they're going really, really well, and people are getting a lot out of it. So I'm super thrilled about that and grateful. And also being able to have one-on-one meetings with people, and just have that conversation with them and let them open up and be able to unload and find out what they really need.
oh, that's wonderful. Well, so you're very intuitive, like just being with you, you have this, and I'm curious, how do things come to you? Do you have an instinct? Do you hear voices? Do you see things? Do you like how do you connect? How do you connect those people?
Okay, so when I'm talking to people, it is I get downloads for them,
Mm,
and so all of a sudden my cognitiveness, my awareness of me is not there, and I'm just channeling out. It's like I'm channeling out through what they need to hear. And so a lot of times I'll say to somebody, please start recording at your end because I'm not going to remember what I just said. And it's not for me anyway, it's for you. So those are the things. So when I have one of those meetings set up ahead of time, I charge for them, and because I need to eat too, and but for when I'm getting introductions from other people, so when I'm getting referrals, then I don't charge for those, and it flows exactly the same way. It doesn't matter for me. That's my gift, and I'm here to share it. So yeah.
that's awesome. Well, even just talking to you, sometimes you're like, "What about this?" And like, I'm not even, in session. So, but you do have a gift for our guests today. So, would you like to share a little bit about that?
Yeah, I'd like to offer everyone who's a, uh, observer or a person who's listening to Venus's work on these podcasts and so on, a 30-minute session with me. And Venus has the link, and she'll be able to share it with everyone who's watching or listening to the podcast.
So I highly recommend even just 15 minutes with this lady. She's brilliant, and she gets this amazing download for you and information, and might know the right people to connect you with. So I highly recommend taking her up on her offer. We will have that link in the show notes for sure, and also in the email that's going out. So But thank you so much, Christine, for this. This has been wonderful. I loved having you on the show. Thank you for just sharing your insights and sharing a different possibility and a different way of being in the world. I'm so grateful for that.
Thank you for the opportunity to be able to share it with even more people.
Yay. And thank
Thank
you
you,
everyone for
Venus.
listening. If you received something from this episode, please like, subscribe, or share. We want more people to know they're not alone as we begin to awaken to a new reality. All of us begin to awaken to a new reality. And if you know anyone who has a home or even a business that has some weird stuff going on, please send them to the free quiz homeclearingquiz.com. Thank you and have a great day.